Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Late Night Dice Ramblings from the Warp. As always, joined by Kyle and Christian.
How you doing,
Hi,
folks?
everybody. God damn it, quit talking at the same time I do.
Right off the bat with the bullshit. All right, let's get into it. Um, so first things first, I want to do something. We got to do an announcement because it was a thing. Um, so we had everybody kind of doing some engagement on our YouTube channel and our Discord and doing some things, and we were, putting all those names into a bucket, and we picked a lucky winner, and that lucky winner is going to get a free ticket to Warzone next month down in Houston. It'll be a free Heresy ticket. We talked about this in a couple of episodes. At the end of July, we were going to announce this. Well, we're here in August, and we have all the names, so we're going to announce it. So, blind draw raffle. When I say blind draw raffle, I mean I threw everything into a bucket, and I had a random pull a name. And the lucky winner for the Warzone ticket is Austin. So, Austin, I'll be sending you a message on Discord. And if you want to comment on this video, we'll accept that as well. But I'll send you a message so you can reach out to the guys over there at Warzone and they can get you squared away with that ticket.
Oh yeah,
Moving into
congratulations.
Woohoo!
moving into the next part about Warzone. Lists. So as you guys know, Warzone's going to be 2.0, right? They're finishing out the year strong at 2.0, which I'm totally in favor of. I love that concept. We're still going to have the raffle army, salamanders, and there's some updates posting about that soon. But when we originally started this episode, what we were going to do was another Q&A episode. And then we realized that a good 80% of our questions were still list based. How do I make a list? What's good in a list? What's good in 3.0? And so we kind of got together and went under the collective idea that we need to discuss list making from a different perspective. Making an army, making a list, building one is not as straightforward as it seems. I'm not saying it's super crazy, you don't need the Sunny in Philadelphia with all the string and the yarn on a map. We don't need to go that crazy, right? But
But we can.
you can't. Don't be wrong. If you give me enough bourbon and motivation, bro, I can go crazy on some dry erase. But one of our viewers and one of the guys in our Discord, shout out to Lars, good dude. He was asking for some help on the 40K side because Christian is our 40K guy. I haven't done 40K in a while, so Christian is the 40K guy for our group. And I was like, yo, Christian, help a brother out. And he was like, all right, what kind of list are you looking for? And they talked for a minute about how they wanted something that vibed a certain way and played something a certain way. And then we got to talking about it and we realized list building is not complicated. It's complicated when you're trying to list build and you don't know what you're trying to do with the list. And the other part of that is what I consider balanced, other people may consider oppressive. And what I consider oppressive, other people will think is oh, that's a terrible list. That's not good at all. And I'm just like, oh, you just wait till I start rolling these dice, honey buns. So we want to get into that. Not so much how to make a list necessarily at first, but the dynamics that go into list building and why it's as tricky as it is. So, Christian, this is your baby, so run with it.
Okay, like Gabe said, Lars asked us some questions. The reason, obviously, he's a 30K player going to 40K. So 40K players listening to this, you're like, oh, it's easy. Just grab this, and that. It's not that simple when we have a 30K player who's looking for vibes, who's looking for thematic. That's what we're trying to pitch right here. And this is the best opportunity to do it because we have 3 different people building lists. As of this episode, next episode's coming out, we will be building our personal list that we are going to take to whatever first 3.0 tournament we go to. The list that we're going to be building on the next Rambling episodes, this is what we're going to try, and we're all going to build a list together. If you listen to the next episodes, throw us some inputs on what you think, and we will go from there. I'm not sure. Have we all thought of what legions we're building? Mine's going to be Ironworks for 3.0. What about you, Kyle?
Mine's gonna be Thousand Suns. I mean, my call tag's Anubis. I was kind of forced into it, but I also like it.
Gabe, I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but I'm still going to ask.
You know, I'm gonna be real with you. I don't know. The reason I say I don't know is I have my Ultramarines, and don't get me wrong. Like, if anyone's ever like, "I'll play your Ultramarines," like, it's fine. I'll just go throw some Marines into a bucket, and I can build an army when I get there. But I'm really wanting to go crazy outside the box in 3.0. I've kicked around the idea of building up a Raven Guard army, mainly because they're kind of the underdogs of this edition. Like, that's the army that's had the most amount of negative publicity.
I mean, I can't believe you've waited this long with your gamer tag being Raven.
I mean, fair, but I know that I'm not going to do Iron Hands or Imperial Fists. I'm leaning heavily toward Raven Guard, and as our friend TJ would put it, go get you a can of Rattle Can. You can get a custom Raven Guard primer job. So I think I might do Raven Guard, but the jury's still out on that one.
Okay, well, we'll cross that road when we get to it. But that's also the thing, guys. Like, that's from us three right there. You got three different perspectives, and Gabe doesn't know because he doesn't. His crazy is he's gonna do something wicked. This guy always has something up his sleeve, and it's not what you think. Whatever you read on the paper and the rules, he's gonna go the other way with it, and it somehow works out. But Kyle, what about? So you said Thousand Suns. What do you want that army to do?
I like the all around. Like, I want to have an answer to what might come across my desk or my table, I should say. Like, I want to use the psychic powers. I feel like that's their shtick. That's what makes them Thousand Suns.
Okay.
What makes it, I kind of lean into the traitor, so I really like the telepath or the psyker abilities. But I also like, I want to be able to, hold the objective, control the table, but I also don't want to be like that asshole that has just the prime kick everyone's ass list. Like, I want to have fun with it, and I want my opponent to have fun playing against it.
Yeah, the beauty about this edition right now is no one knows what's good. You have hints. You kind of know. Veterans like Gabe could see sprinkles of, oh, this is going to be amazing. So it's just something that we're going to have to go and run with, and whatever we think is good, other people could think that it's bad.
In that same vein of thought, this is something that I also want to get out there, because this is probably my number one pet peeve when I see new players or even veteran players and they're building a list. I will help anyone build a list. I really will. If you holler at me and you're like, "Hey Gabe, I want to build a list, help me," I will help you. I'll ask some questions and we'll get you going. If you play that game, if you play that list one time and then you change the list, I will stop taking you seriously.
Yes, you have to, even if your list is what you consider bad, please play that list at least minimum 3 or 4 times. We get it. Sometimes people can't get that many games in. Guess what? You got some new friends here. Join the Discord. Get on TTS. We will roll some dice, even if it's just 1 or 2 turns. You're going to find your gem unit in that bad list. Or if it's a fucking crazy list that's really, really good, you're still going to find that gem, that unit that you like. And that's one step closer to finding your perfect list. Not saying perfect list that's just going to kill everybody, that's just going to win every game. It's the unique unit that you love the most, that you feel you need to take this in every game. For me, that was Sagittarium with Custodes in 2.0. Don't know why. I love them. Everyone called them dog, and then everyone started to hate them when they see 2 10-man bricks shooting at them. So, on that note, Gabe, do you have any other pointers or stuff like why we started this episode on list building? Like,
So there are a couple of things. When you're building a list, a lot of guys start from, how can I explain this? You don't build a house from the roof down, right? When you're working on a list composition, you first need to know what you want that list to do, right? And the reason why I say that is I've had friends of mine, they're like, hey, help me build a really strong list. I want to go and I want to play this game. And I'm like, cool. And I build a really strong list. And they come back and they're like, man, this list sucked. And I'm like, okay. Do you want to elaborate on why it sucked? And then they're like, well, I tried this and it didn't work. And I was like, okay, why'd you charge a dreadnought with tactical marines? Why'd you do that? Well, I thought I could kill it with crack grenades. I gave you a unit in that list that could kill that. Right. And that's where we get into the first thing that you need to know is you need to know how your list operates and the theme and the dynamics of your list. You can get help with your list. You know, we were actually, Christian, you weren't around for this part, but one of our more consistent viewers and one of the guys who hangs out in our hobby hangs a lot, Mike, he was like, hey, I have a list. I want pointers on the list. We gave some pointers, but as people were giving pointers, what I love about listening to him talk about his lists is somebody will be like, well, you should get rid of this. And he's like, fuck you. It's painted, not going out. Right. I love that.
Okay.
That makes me so happy.
Okay.
And so when hang on, let me finish my thought. You sit there. Let me finish my thought. You called on me, sir. So, and when he listens to his list, he'll also say things like, you know, like, well, I have that in there to take care of this and to make this happen and to follow this theme. So he understands the theme and the dynamics behind the list, right? That should be the first object in a Horus Heresy list. Now, in a 40K list, this is going to be completely different, right? The next step is, how does it function? And when I say this, understand, this isn't me coming at this from a list standpoint of like any one thing in mind. This is just my collective idea that I have from going to lots of events and seeing a lot of different gameplays. If you don't understand what your list is supposed to do, how you want to play it, if you're just throwing shit against the wall to see what sticks, you're never going to feel that cohesiveness, that mechanic. For those of you who play Magic, it's a lot like not having a theme to a Magic deck. If you don't have an engineered idea in your head of how you want it to execute, it's not going to do that. And vice versa, you need contingencies with that. And that's where, when you're getting pointers on your list and you're looking at things, it's like, okay, the core idea, you know, Kyle's talking about core idea, I want to do psychic shenanigans. That doesn't mean take 12 librarians. Right? That
Good,
means
because I don't want to paint 12 librarians.
that means lean into the psychic powers, lean into them, make it fun, make it fun for you. But don't come to me and be like, yeah, I was trying to show a theme of the Great Thagmata, so I brought 25 dreadnoughts. No, that's not what we're doing here. So that would be my main thing: is find a theme, then find the structure, the design of what that list is going to do, and then build from there. That's always going to be the bones of your list structure.
When you're taking this information in from other people, you got to understand different people come from different levels of the game. There's different levels to this shit, man. Someone doing it could only have 20 games under their belt. Someone could have like 100 tournaments under their belt or won a big tournament. Good example of this is Gabe used to play Iron Warriors. Gabe has a nice Iron Warriors list. It won a couple tournaments. Unknowingly, I played that list. Got the shit kicked out of me because I didn't understand the list. But going through the list and how I played it, I walked up to Gabe and was like, hey, man, I started doing better whenever these Iron Havocs with autocannons just started running up front in line and I'm just using them as fodder. And Gabe's like, yeah, that's how it functions. I'm like, huh? He's like, yeah, you're not supposed to just sit back with them and not do anything with them. Like, they're your front line. I was like, that makes sense now. So there's an example straight up. Also, another example when Gabe was talking about people giving ideas and people saying, no, not doing that. This is painted. Yes, obviously we all have certain models that we love to play with. We won't take them out. But don't take that feedback as you have to change this, and don't take that feedback as if I tell you to do this and they didn't listen, that, oh, they're not going to listen to anything. Because at least y'all could come to an agreement of looking at what unit you want to add. Go deeper into that thought. Why would you tell them to add this unit? Let them know. Well, you need another unit to stand on a point. You have nothing like that. Maybe he could go, well, I'm not adding that unit, but maybe this unit that I already have painted that I love, maybe this could do that objective for me. It could there there's certain ways to talk about it to where we could all get positive stuff out of the conversation. I don't know if that makes sense or if I'm just rambling too much, but makes sense.
No, I agree. There's good and bad ways to accept and reject feedback. Like, I think one of my biggest pet peeves is whenever someone's like, "Hey, man, can you help me optimize this?" And I'm like, "Okay, what are you trying to optimize?" "Well, I just feel like I don't have enough armor." "Okay, well, maybe remove this unit, add tank." "Why would you remove that unit? It does this." "Okay, well, maybe this unit." "Well, no, I like that unit." "Okay, what about this unit?" "No, that's one of my favorite units." Like, it sounds like you're pretty happy with the list you have. It sounds like you're happy with what you have, and that's fine. Maybe you don't need armor. "Well, I want armor." Then drop something.
Yep.
You know me, I'm super sentimental toward horde armies. I'll tell you guys right now, anybody who's listening to this, you will never see me play with a list that doesn't have at least like 30 or 40 bodies in it. If you do, I'm trying something completely left field, off the cuff, weird something. I love having lots and lots of bodies to have a lot of tactical flexibility throughout the game. That's my play style. I play in a way that as I play, I can dynamically shift what I'm doing throughout the game and not have to be oppressive in the list building process. At least that's for me.
So going off that, just thinking about it right now, and this might seem overly competitive to some people coming from 2.0 to the new people with 3.0. My list design, I think, is going to be around my Primarch. This is the first edition that we're able to take Primarchs to what I feel without any detriment. Some of them are, I think, actually really accurately the points match them for what they do to. Well, my Primarch does. I'm not sure about G-Man or Magnus or any of the other ones, but for me, I think he's properly priced for the points, and that's what I want. I want to build my Legion around my Primarch. Gabe, how do you feel about that? Do you think that's too powerful to? Because I know we have that. How would I say? We have that ick of like, oh, dude, if you bring a Primarch in 2.0, it's kind of it. It's a weird. It's where do you draw that line? They're powerful, but also it's like they cost so much points. You're wasting a lot of your army. So it's kind of like they're bad, but they're a big ass beat stick. Like I never got that line, like where people fall on it in 2.0. It was a weird conversation to have.
Well, so it still carries into 3.0 a little bit, at least in my opinion. And the reason being is because when you're playing with a Primarch, it's never about, oh, you're bringing a super oppressive model and blah blah blah. That's not the problem. The problem with Primarchs is the same that you see with, say, a Titan. Do you know what kills a Titan?
Titans.
Another Titan. Right? Anyone who sits here and argues like, "Oh yeah, man, I'll take a couple of tanks and I'll kill that Titan." You, sir, have a fantastic drug dealer with amazing prices because you're delusional. Right? In the same categorization, Primarchs fit into that same thing where it takes a lot of the time another Primarch to take care of a Primarch, at least like to keep them in check. In 3.0, I think the difference is going to be the length of the games is smaller. So the potential impact of that Primarch is alarmingly decreased.
I think it's alarmingly increased. That's why I'm on the fence of because some of these Primarch's abilities help the army so much, and you only have 4 turns to take it down.
Well, and that's where I think there's going to be a little bit of a difference is, unlike 40K, right? So 40K did this as well. 40K tried to make the games faster and a little bit, quicker. Heresy is doing the same thing. What Heresy did not do was reduce the table size. So even though there is a very small table size change in 40K, it's still a change, right? So yes, you're right. You only have 4 turns, but again, you only have 4 turns. Charges are a lot harder. Combat is a little bit more involved. Shooting is a little bit more aggressive. So a lot of the stuff that made Primarch scary in 2.0, where it was like, oh yeah, the Primarch's going to get there, it's going to hurt me. That doesn't scare me as much. What does scare me about Primarchs, as you were saying earlier, are the Legion benefits. A lot of Primarchs do a lot for their armies now, and I think that's where it's going to be kind of involved. Every Primarch has detachment changes where they can give a lot of prime slots. I think prime slots are going to play a big part of this game. So that's where I think the Primarch is still going to be a pretty heavy impact on the game, but this next part I cannot stress enough, and I've always felt this way. Just play what you want.
That's exactly where we're going with this conversation, because I know some people out there are going to be like, oh, that, like we said, some people are not going to like that I'm bringing a Primarch, but I think that's thematic.
Yeah, like I sit here and I listen to some guys talk about it, and like I've got a lot of really good friends in the Heresy community that buy into this concept of, like, oh, well, you're not supposed to bring a Primarch in normal friendly games. Why? That's the way I want to play. I think in all of 2.0, I played G-Man twice. Not because I don't like G-Man, but because he's not my playstyle. Right? Meanwhile, my real good friend John, I think, played 2 games without Sanguinius. So, and like at the end of the day, it's fun for me because I'm just like, okay, there's a big winged angel, literal angel on the field with a burning spear just skewering people. That's amazing. I love the concept of bringing the Primarchs. I've never been against it. I think where it draws the wrong ideas was fixed in 3.0. The reason Primarchs were such a problem in 2.0 was people would bring them at like 1,500 points.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a little bit. You need to ask someone before you fuck them. Like, I'm sorry.
Right. Like, there's got to, like, consent matters. So,
yes, sir.
So, if you're playing like a 2,000 point list and you're like, oh, I have enough points to bring my Primarch and it won't hurt me, like, it goes back to that. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Well, in 3.0, they ironed it out. You cannot bring a Primarch under 3,000 points. Period. And that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly reasonable. Right? The conflict came from like 2,500 point, 2,000 point games where there's a Primarch at play, and you're like, that feels a little rude. Right? Especially if you didn't know a Primarch was showing up.
Exactly.
So I get, so that feeling I don't think is so overbearing anymore because they've restricted a lot of it. They're like, hey, you can only bring this thing at 3,000 points now. Cool. I think the other thing is a lot of players are going to fall into the trap that you're falling into. I call it a trap because that's how I view it. But you're right. They can bring Portarabo with 6 Iron Circle now.
Stop giving out my ideas, man. Okay.
They can bring Horus with 10 Justarin. They can bring Dorn with 10 Huskarls.
And that just seems so cool to me that we're going to see more Primarchs and we're going to have these challenges and fights where we actually see two Primarch do some crazy shenanigans on the battlefield. It's it's going to make for a lot of epic moments. It's going to make a lot of sad moments for people, but still, I think it's going to be fun. Kyle, what do you feel about Primarchs? I know you don't have. Well, no. You used to play Mortarion.
I got Morty. I got Morty and the
Yeah,
boys. Yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna. I mean, so my thing is, I like Morty. I like. I don't know if I'm gonna play him because I don't know if I'm gonna play my death guard anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
I know this sounds weird, but painting takes a lot out of me. I dislike it, and I'm my own worst critic, and so I hate everything I've ever painted. And so when I commit to an army, I'm like, okay, I have to swallow this pill. I'm gonna have to paint all of this, and I do it. And converting my 1,000 Suns from 2.0 to 3.0, I'm gonna have to paint some more stuff, including doubling my tack squads because I'm gonna have 20-man tack breaks now. And I really don't want to. So to do that and then do it again, I don't know, man. Like I might just buy an Ahriman or someone for 1,000 Suns and paint him up while I'm painting up my tack squad guys.
And see, that's another concept. Like, people don't want to hear it. People are going to be like, "Oh, that's not one." But there are some people out there that the best way I could describe it is from another 40K side perspective. One of the best, well, I'm not going to say best, but one of the popular armies is Knights. Why? Because of what Kyle just said. Maybe the vibe isn't, as thematic as you want to be or as good. Let me take as few models as I can to a tournament because I don't want to be like Gabe, who's willing to take 80 freaking foot soldiers and then some. And that could be the vibe for some people. Like, let me take more tanks than anything, or take more vehicles. And some people could find that oppressive. Some people could find it as too much. But hey, they just wanted to paint their big models, and they didn't want to, paint a lot. And that could just be the thing for some people when they play Heresy. What do you feel about that one, Gabe?
So no, Kyle's got a real genuine thing, right? So like, I know that I was talking to some of the guys in the Discord, and like, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna bring 200 Marines, and they were like, fucking what? And I was like, yeah, I'm bringing 200 bodies, and they're like, do you have 200 bodies? And I'm just like, you wound me, sir.
Give this man credit.
So, but I get where Kyle's coming from, because our buddy Jody is the same way. Like when we go to Lake Hammer, he's like, what list can I take that will fit into one box for everything? Right. And I don't hold that against anybody, because it does suck loading up and being like, all right, cool. Did I got all my guys? All right, cool. There's 10 of these and 10 of these and 10 of these and 10 of these. Dude, like when I rack out my box, it looks like some Indian in the cupboard shit. There's a lot going on in that box, dude.
Jody's like, did I bring everything? There's like 2 shadow swords back there and like a Titan or something. He's like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, dude, 100%, right? So, and part of that also is, like, I'm fortunate. I've been in the hobby for a really long time, and there's a lot of guys like me. Especially in the ABB group, there's a lot of guys like me that have been playing for such a long time that I have all the hobby supplies. I have the dedicated space. I have an airbrush. I have a setup. Kyle mentioned it yesterday. He's like, sometimes it pisses me off how fast you crank out models. Right? I have the space set up for it. Like, I'm geared for that. I will never look at someone and be like, plebeian didn't paint his army. I'll be like, hey, you put an effort in. That's all I care about. Don't get me wrong. Lake Hammer still has preferred enemy gray. Like, you show up with some unpainted stuff, it's gonna catch some strays, right?
Right. But you also like painting.
Well, I liked the finished product, right? And if you're good at something, do it.
Right. I mean, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean,
but I do get where Kyle's coming from. Where we're like fuck, I got to paint like 60 dudes. This sucks. And especially when it's tactical Marines, holy shit! It's just like, all right, cool. All of them are primed. Let's do all the shoulder pad trim. Yay! Now let's go through and do all the pouches. Yay! Now let's go through and do all the eyes. Yay! Dude, I feel like Henry Ford. Dude, I'm just like assembly lining Space Marines, and it sucks. And then on the flip to that, I was working on the raffle army, and I was like, oh yeah, let's do all these fire drakes. And I was like, why do y'all have shit everywhere? There were so many small details. I was like, why is there stuff everywhere? And so like, I enjoy painting, and I can crank out a whole army. Like, it doesn't bother me. I like doing it. But that's not for everybody. There are a lot of people who are like, hey, I got my 3 colors. Fucking eat dicks. I just appreciate that you put effort into your army, and you wanted to show up without an army that wasn't unpainted. I appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate all aspects of the hobby, all like stages of the hobby. So I get all of that. And then there's also something like, dude, you want to play with big toys sometimes. I'm excited about 3 point. You know what I'm most excited about? I get to bring a Fellblade again.
oh no.
Bro, I got a Fellblade up there that needs some Consuelo love so bad. It's just all dusty and shit. Like, it needs more Lemon Pledge, but I'll get to play it, because it's a little bit more functional. Tanks are a little bit more functional this edition. So, but I get where Kyle's coming from. Like, some people don't want to paint 100 models to make an army viable. I understand it.
Yeah, so I guess the big thing that also we need to talk about is if you have list ideas, if you want, just post it in our Discord and we'll look through it. But most of the time that I see it, I can't just type out it. I don't know if it's just me. Maybe it's simpler for other people. But when you say, man, what can we make out of this list here? My mind goes crazy. I'm like, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to hold objectives? Do you just want to like stuff to go boom? Do you want to be durable? Do you want it thematic? Do you want all flyers? Do you want so I invite you, if you need a list to be built, post in our Discord, post your list, and I'm 100% probably going to tell you, hey, pick a day, jump in the Discord with us, and let's talk about it. Because I feel like there's more than just copy pasta in this hobby of just copying someone's list.
Well, and to the point, of what kind of sparked this, we want to be helpful. I want to help you with a list. The problem is, like, the possibilities are kind of endless in both games right now.
100%.
And without knowing what you want to do and what you don't want to do, one of my biggest problems is people come to me and be like, hey, I want to build a list. I'm like, all right, what are you working with? They're like, I have this. I'm like, man, if you only spend like $500 more, you'll have a banger. Right? Like, that's my problem. I'm like, if you go get this is going to be off the chain.
And luckily, me and Kyle have a game. So when Gabe was talking about painting, I was like, we're actually grateful that Gabe has all these models painted for a long time, has these extra bits. Because in all honesty, if it wasn't for Gabe, me and Kyle wouldn't be playing Heresy. Like, that's just a fact. And so that's why we want to go around helping people. We want to let grow this community. But Gabe is right. I think my first Cassode stuff, like going for stuff, I was like, man, how much does that cost? And you're just like, oh yeah, it's only like $600. So we're willing to, whatever you have, try to make it work, and hopefully, because I feel like everything could be viable in this edition. Now, maybe down the line that might not be true, but as of right now, the sky's the limit with everything.
That's
and
so true.
Like, I'm always down to help theory craft a list. I would just ask that you set aside some time to actually talk it through, because some of the most like hilariously fun list ideas I've ever made started as crack open a beer, hear me out. That's 100% how most of the crazy list that I have start is me being like, let me tell you something. But I do it like I do it like Fire Marshal Bill on Xanax, like just like let me tell you something. So like 100%, I love to build lists and I love to theory craft. It's just really hard to do via text because I'm excitable when I start talking about lists.
Oh yeah.
And you're constantly changing.
Yeah, it's a condition.
Yeah, I mean, you'll be talking through and be like, you know what? No, we're gonna drop this and to pick up that. And you keep going, you're like, oh man, we're gonna have to drop this other thing and pick up this other thing because this is so much better. Like, yeah, it's not a static thing. It's not just a here you go, copy paste. This is a great army. Have fun.
And also it's the reason it's always changing for Gabe and sometimes for me and maybe a little bit less for you, Kyle, is because Gabe has played nothing but Ultra. Well, I'm not gonna say he's played nothing but a lot of your time has been with Ultramarines. You played so many different scenarios with so many different. I've known you played with every single infantry or unit you could field. That you know those scenarios. Me and Kyle haven't done that with our legions, so that's also a good thing. That when you come to us and ask us stuff, we're going to have different point of views, but we also have a veteran that could help, has played numerous amount of games with certain types of. So the strategy is still there. Yes, it's a new edition. Yes, some of these units do differently, but the basics are still the basics, and that's also what we want to teach.
Yeah, absolutely. And not just that, but I also want to hear your crazy ideas. Like I genuinely want somebody to show up with a list that I'm like, the fuck is that? I love that.
Yeah, you might come up with something crazy that we haven't even thought of, and we're like, oh, we want to try that. Like, we want to make that work.
You know, that's probably one of the most dangerous things that's ever happened. Is I've played with a lot of really interesting people, and like one of the more interesting people to like build lists with is Duncan. Because I'll be sitting there, I'm like, yeah, I have this crazy idea, and he's like, oh yeah, what's your crazy idea? And I'll send it to him, and he'll get real quiet, and everybody's like, what are you doing? Duncan's like, shut up. And we're like, all right, like, are you good? Are you okay? And then he'll send me a private message, and he'll be like, I love it, but I never want to see it in person.
I don't know Duncan, and that's one of my cherished moments right there. It was the when I told him, I was like, I think I can make. I forgot what it was, but when I was talking about Alpha Legion, I was just like, I think I could put this. What was it? It was
It was the Deep Striking Land Raider.
the Deep Striking Spartan with a whole bunch of units inside of it. I forgot what it was, but Duncan was just like, that doesn't work. And then when we realized, like, he was like, oh, it does. He was like, I never want to see that across my table in any of my tournaments. So I was like, okay. I was like, I would. That's fine. That's a proud moment for me. And that was when I was like fairly new, and I needed to pull back the crazy because I was coming from the 40K side. But I've learned since then. I've learned. But that was an accomplishment, I think.
Yeah, and like, I guess one of my other big pet peeves, and like, this is something that I can't stress enough. Build the list that you want to play. If it ends up being too much, the community will tell you. They'll be like, hey, just take 10 off the top, my guy. That's a little much. I think in all the time I've played, I've only come across like one list where I was like, this motherfucker's getting it to 10. The rest of the time, 100%, it had nothing to do with the actual game itself. It had to do with the player. You know, the list was never the catalyst. The player was the catalyst on why I decided to like dial it up. So, but list wise, man, I love building lists and I love to talk through it and like theory craft. And anytime somebody wants to hop in, there's a whole section for list building where people have posted some lists and gotten some help. Like I said, I know that Christian is a lot more on the 40K side right now than I am. So like definitely he's going to be your guy for that side of the water. But I will sit and talk lists all day, every day.
Yep. And the way that people have to go about lists is we have to try it out. We will play games with y'all too. If we throw you a list idea, if you want to roll some dice, we can. If I get it, not a lot of people can, but hey, TTS is a thing, and whatever list we make for you, and we're willing to play against it to see what works, because you're gonna have to play it at least, I would say, a good 3 times till we figure out what we like and what we don't like. And maybe the list isn't that great, but man, you just vibe with it because it's everything you wanted in a list. And that's just join the Discord and we will talk about it. I can't stress that enough. We're just trying to get people to actually come and play 3.0, because I know a lot of people are just shying away from it because they think the list building is hard. They're not getting a lot of answers that they want straight off rip, because no one knows right now. This is gonna be a thing that we're going to have to talk about with the masses, with whatever group you're playing with. It's not a simple question with a simple answer.
And I'll go so far as to say this: if you have a list and you want to see what it does, I'm all for it, even to a degree where I'll play the list. I'll hop in TTS and play your list. I'm not against that.
Yeah, and then that might also spark a different way that we see a list. Maybe you saw a list one way, like you thought it could only I don't know, hold objectives and stuff like that. And Gabe sees it and sees it as a deep striking list. He's like, oh no, you could flank with this, you could do this, that, and the other, you could sneak up on objectives. Different people see different lists in different ways. And that's a cool thing about it too. And that's also a reason why I want to get in some games with Kyle. Kyle could test out your list because he's going to take it from a new player's perspective. I'm going to take it from a new player's perspective. You can learn a lot of stuff from other people piloting your list. You'll always find something helpful.
Yeah, I know that when we were getting ready for Adepticon last year, it was me, Justin, and Sean. We went out to Justin's house like 2 days ahead of time. And what we were doing, which in retrospect now, I was like, that was crazy. We would all play each other, but the way it would work is like, say I'm playing you, right, Christian?
Yeah.
I would play you with Kyle's list. And then whenever I played Kyle, I would play Kyle with your list. And everyone would watch the game. And then at the end, you and Kyle would play each other, and then you would both play me. And that showed you the different angles of how your list operates, how it can operate in a different mindset, and how it operates against different armies. Right? It was really one of those check all the bases so that you kind of know what you can and can't get away with. And so I love doing that. I love that entire concept. So I'll always volunteer for that.
Yeah, because people just like it's you in 2.0, you knew more how would I like better like damage calculations on what the rolls could be, like what your units can do. And I never picked on that early on, and I'm kind of getting better at it. But I would see a list and you're like, yeah, if you roll, it'll take 2 activations of this to kill this. In the earlier days, I'm like, what the hell does that mean? I was like, oh, they could do that? Like, if I just focus fire this unit twice at this contemptor, it could kill it? Like, I never saw it like that. It was a weird concept for me. Like, and saying that out loud, there's going to be some people that are going to be like, That's like the basics of playing this game. You got to realize when some people start playing this game, they just do it to roll dice. They do it to have fun. And that was kind of the concept for me getting into this.
Yeah, and I'd much rather everyone play to have fun. But if you come to me and you're like, "Hey, I want to play the best I can possibly play," like, all right, cool. You're gonna have to math the shit out of this.
Yep.
So, yeah, like 100%, man. Like I love the Theorycraft lists. It makes me happy. So, y'all ever want to hop on and just shoot the breeze about lists? I am all ears.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. So let's go a little bit into this, because this is something that's always been questioning or bothering me, I guess. I've played against a gunline army, namely yours. I've played against an all melee army, mainly John's Blood Angels with his Sanguinius. Both of them have their strong points, both of them have their weak points, but using D&D for a balance, or for like something that you can relate to, what all can you use for an army? Like, how would you talk to someone new and be like, hey, you don't know anything about this game, how do you want to play it? Like, how would you explain what different types of lists can be made, if that makes any sense?
Well, so that's actually one of the beautiful parts about 3.0 compared to 2.0. In 2.0, we had to break out our Sunny in Philadelphia board. Right? Because if you're like, I want to play an army, I would first ask you, it's the same question all the time that I ask every player. What is your play style? Like, when you play D&D, are you a rogue? Are you a fighter? Are you a barbarian that likes to rage? Are you like a stealth kind of player? Or what are you, right? And based off of that, we would say, oh yeah, if you like close combat, cool. You're going to take this army, then you got to take this rite of war, and you take these units, and that's really going to tie that all together. Well, that's gone now, right? So when I look at getting a player into the game, I'll ask them, okay, first things first, do you want to play your army a certain type of way, or do you want your army to look a certain type of way? Because this is probably the biggest contention of all things out there. When you came to me and said, hey, I want an army that's really tough and rigid, I'm like, cool, can't beat Death Guard. And about halfway through, you were like, these guys are really fucking boring to paint. Like they bro, they're like the anti-Bennigans, bro. They got flair fucking anywhere. Right. And then you look at an army like, say, what's a really good one?
Night Lords.
Night Lords. Yeah, there you go. Dude, Night Lords look wicked. Dude, you're talking about a deep midnight blue with lightning? Come on.
Bat wings everywhere.
Yeah, like they look really good. And then you find out, like, oh yeah, like if you're not into being Catholic Batman, that's not for you.
You don't want to take the time to learn how to paint lightning.
That would be a fun mental experiment, or thought experiment. What superhero matches what legion?
Oh, dude, we
could go on and on.
So when I talk to people about building their lists, is I ask the type of player you want to be. Like, do you want to run and hit them? Do you want balance? Do you want to be able to be, the jack of all trades? Do you just want to gun line it? Do you want to be able to just stand in place? What is your dynamic? And then from there, I'll say, okay, cool. These are some armies that can do that. Which one do you like the look of? Which legion do you like the colors of? Because technically speaking, we can make any legion do any one thing. You're just going to get some weird looks showing up with some las cannon world eaters. Right?
It's more accurate though, right? Like they know how to use las cannons.
Yeah, they'll muzzle check you with them. But it's also kind of weird whenever somebody's just like, oh, what kind of army are you playing? Like, oh, yeah, I'm playing Sons of Horus. Oh, well, what kind of Sons of Horus are you playing? Oh, we're all scouts. That is not them, right? So you can make an army do anything you want it to do, but I always approach it from the sense of the rule of cool. What looks cool to you? What do you want to flex with? Like right now, there's tons of people that see a Saturnine box and they're like, "Oh my god, Saturnine Terminators!" And then I know a bunch of old heads. Those are the dumbest fucking looking Terminators that have ever existed. Now I'm one of those people. I love my turtle shell Terminators. I love them. They're amazing, right? It's all about the aesthetic. If you pick a Legion and you're never going to like your aesthetic, you're never going to like your Legion.
Exactly. I thought we
That's
could build a competitive list for you all day, like that could kick someone's teeth in. But at the end of the day, not gonna have that many friends if you just keep on doing that, and you're not gonna like it if you don't like the models or if you don't appreciate if you like the way you painted it or something like that. Like,
well, moreover, you show up with an army and you're like, man, I really, really love the way this army plays, but I hate painting white. Hey, I love Space Wolves. I love the idea of Space Wolves. I love everything that's there, but they don't play the way I like. You've got to find the middle ground, right? Like for instance, my boy Seth. I love Seth to death. I hate his fucking scout army. I'm not gonna lie about it. I'm not gonna hedge anything for it. I'm not playing it subtle or off the chest. I fucking hate that army. I hate it with every fiber of my Warhammer being. Not because it isn't a cool list. Aesthetically, it's an amazing list. I just hate that when I move, it swarms like bees.
Dude, you're not kidding.
Right.
Every time I said I'm gonna do this, I'd look at Seth and be like, "You gonna react to that? Are you gonna move 73 inches across the map?"
Dude, it was literally like pouring water on a wasp nest. It was just everything was crazy fast, So you're like, okay, cool, but he's playing the aesthetic he wanted to play. He's playing it the way he wants to play it, and I can appreciate that. I played against a guy who brings an entire drop pod army. That's the way he wants to play it. Okay, cool. So that's going to be the biggest philosophical hurdle for any new player is what is the aesthetic you want and what is the play style that you want? Because you can sit here all day and talk about, this great idea that you have for an army. But if you don't like painting white, I don't think World Eaters or White Scars is your bag of tricks, my boy.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason I'll never play Imperial Fists.
Yeah, like that.
Sorry,
And I
Justin.
know a lot of people that are just like, oh yeah, man, what's the toughest army out there? I'm like, oh man, Imperial Fists are pretty good. And they're like, oh, what color are they? And I'm like, they're school bus fucking yellow. So it's up to you. I mean, like if you want to play the most violent version of the Magic School Bus, that's them. So that's how I've always approached it, Kyle, is figure out their rule of cool, like what they want to play, what they're going to enjoy playing, because there's nothing worse than somebody who gets into the game and they're like, yeah, I don't play anymore because the game sucked. What did you like about it? Why didn't you like that my Space Wolves couldn't shoot? What? What? Who lied to you?
Yeah, like when they say, "Oh, my World Eaters couldn't shoot." Lance proved that wrong.
Yeah, like you can. You just have to say that you're wanting to play it the way you want to play it. Now I will say there is one big hurdle to new players, even in 3.0. This is one of the biggest hurdles, and that is that you walk into a store, and Games Workshop is probably the best and the worst about this. You walk into a store and you make the mistake of asking certain types of questions. My like the bane of my existence as a Warhammer player when new people came in is when they ask, "Hey, who's the good guys?"
Man, they're human. There are no good guys.
In the 40K universe, I'm convinced the only good guys are Tyranids. That is purely just nature taking its course. Everyone else is a shitbag, right? The second question that you hear a lot, where a lot of people are like, this is the question that leads you down to really stray places. What do I need to get started? If that isn't the grayest fucking question, to ever ask. Because I can tell you, yeah, pick up a Saturnine box. That is a fantastic starting point. Do you know what else that Saturnine box doesn't have in it? It doesn't have enough information about the detachments or the legions or anything else for you to go from there. So as it is a fantastic starting point because it comes with your rules and a bunch of models, a lot of flexibility. I love the box. It's fantastic. Someone should have said, hey, before you do any of that, read about the legions, pick the legion you like, then pick up that Saturnine box, your Liber, and then start planning from there. Because there's so many times people walk in and they're like, yeah, I picked up a squad of Marines. I'm going to paint them up. Cool. You can't play with just a squad of Marines. You know, or they'll say like, you know, oh man, I really like this tank, so I got this tank. And you're like, oh, which tank did you get? Oh man, I got this one that has a big cannon on the front. That's like 9 tanks, buddy. Which one? It's called a Typhoon. A Typhon? Your first tank was a Lord of War. That's going to be problematic. I love the Typhon. It's a fantastic tank. I think it's one of the best tanks in the game, at least from how it reads. It's going to be fantastic. It and like other big tanks. But the starting point should be a place where you can grow your army in a healthy way and you never feel like this was a waste of money. That's the trap is, you know, like right now, as it stands, if you were to tell me walking in a store, I'm going to buy an army off the shelf, there's some models that are of no use to me. In any one legion I pick, there's going to be some models that aren't going to be good, at least not for that theme or that dynamic that I'm going for. So you've got to be careful when you're starting out and you're doing the list building to not ask the questions that lead to the car salesman mentality.
Yep.
If that helps, like, hey, what's good? Shit, everything, man. I got an 81 Honda right here with your name on it. So
there's an 81 Honda. How dare you?
And that's and that's where the community I think really has to step up. And it's something that I've seen really a lot from the ABB group, and I've seen it some from the Warzone group, and that group of guys down in Houston. That's a solid group of dudes too. Where if you're like, hey, I'm new to the game, they're almost clamoring over each other to help you. I love that. I love the idea that there's people jumping ahead of everything to try and give you the best advice and the best knowledge to do good, right? And they're not coming at you from a negative place or like a bad place. They're honestly just saying like, well, what do you want to build? How do you want to build it? What colors do you like? All of those questions mean something. And they're all from players that have done it before and dealt with this really weird thing. Because it is weird when you're first starting out, like you've never played a war game before and you're jumping into Horus Heresy. They're like, oh, who's the good guys? Well, there's like a demon with wings, but there's also an angel with wings, and they're both assholes. So definitely hop if you have a player who's new, hop into our Discord, hop into the ABB Discord, hop into any wargaming Discord, and start asking questions before you buy. I'll never tell you not to buy the Age of Darkness box. That comes with the rule book. It comes with all your stuff, your templates. That's a fantastic place to start. But please don't walk into a store, buy a squad of guys, and be like, yeah, this is the start of my army. You're going to spend more money in the long run. You're going to have less cool stuff to show for it. Just coordinate with the other guys in the community and get that jump start on it. It will help a ton.
And listen to our Legion breakdowns where you can figure out about the character to see if you find anyone you like.
Yeah, and dude, I think GW heard me. You remember how I was telling you guys about that character who was just like, yeah, the Emperor's a piece of shit, and then got killed immediately?
Yep.
They took Homeboy out. He's not in the PDF. He is not in anything. Like they just took they put him out to pasture. They were just like, oh, you're getting a little bit too old there, girl. You're just done, right? So I do eventually want to have a 3.0 breakdown of all the legions now that we have the PDF. Like I think that would be a fun thing to get into.
For sure.
The original breakdown was really just us talking about all the legions and having fun with it. But beyond that, yeah, that's where I would start.
So I'm seeing a lot on here. I like to peruse the Reddit, the subreddit for Warhammer 30K and 40K, and that seems to be one of the biggest questions. Besides, what do you guys feel about 3.0? Is where I'm coming from 40K. Where do I go? And
Yep.
my answer to that would be, I wish I could put this on there, but I'm sure I'd get banned if I did it. Join our Discord and ask us some questions.
Honestly, I would be against it. I just don't. I don't know enough about Reddit culture. Like every time I hop on Reddit, I lose a little bit more faith in humanity.
Oh, Sundown Audio is not that bad, Gabe.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's going to be the key, right? Because it's always going to be a hard transition going from Horus Heresy to 40K or 40K to Horus Heresy. It's always going to be a stiff transition because it's not just two different game mechanics; it's two different game cultures.
Yeah.
40K has really embraced the tournament competitive culture, whereas Horus Heresy is just like I have literally walked up on this conversation. This is not abstract. This is a real thing. I walked up and a guy was like, yeah, it's just, I don't feel the army's legal because the guy has Mark 6 armor on this squad when that wasn't present when this person was in command of this company in this book I read.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where I'm like,
that's
ooh.
the kind of person that I would call out.
Oh man, I can't wait for people to see my custody.
All 10 toes pointed right at him with all my chest. I would say that doesn't fucking matter.
No, and majority of players would agree with you. It's just there's a couple of like super purists out there that they'll start with that. Actually, as soon as I hear that, I'm just like, dope. I'm not drunk enough for this. I'll be back.
Yeah.
Bourbon me, please.
Yes, where's my bourbon, bitch? But yeah, man. So that's probably the biggest takeaway is reach out, talk, holler at people. Just get in some of the hobby hangouts. We do ours every Tuesday. I know the guys at ABB do one on Wednesday. I might be the only person who's shouting out other podcasts. I don't care. I would definitely lean toward that. I would get into those hobby chats, talk to people. I would just hop into Discords and start asking questions and go from there. Even if you're a seasoned player, even if you're a new player, that's what I would do first. Don't. I know that Kyle lives on Reddit a little bit. Don't go down that rabbit hole. Reddit. I wholeheartedly believe that Reddit is just a place for trolls and angry souls.
Erebus is hiding in Reddit. Y'all just don't know.
Yeah, like if I had like, and the thing is, I know that Reddit is a wealth of knowledge and information. There are a lot of really cool things to see on Reddit. But like for every one cool thing, I see 5 guys that I'm just like, holy shit, that's what happens when a dick grows legs. But yeah, that's what I would say is hop in the Discords, talk to some people where you can actually talk to them, in a voice chat. Find out where the events are, find out where the games are. We've got a looking for games in our Discord. We've also got a couple of TTS stuff that we're going to start doing. We're start doing some playthroughs. Link up with people, start talking. The wargaming version of get out and touch some grass. Talk to some people, hop in some Discords, learn some knowledge, rub some shoulders. You're going to do more that way than you are walking into a GW store and getting the like sticker price car dealership feeling. So I think that's our wrap up for today. We've rambled quite a bit.
Yeah, we've been out there.
Final wrap up. Austin, reach out to us. We're going to reach out to you. Congratulations on winning your Warzone ticket. I hope to see some of you at Warzone. It is coming up. We're gonna have a few more episodes between now and then, and I'm hoping maybe we can do a special episode from Warzone. That'll depend. Maybe. And last but not least, as always, happy dice, happy life. Fuck Erebus. We'll catch you guys in the next one.